The Vikings lose a tough one, but now they're ready for the playoffs. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Lago Vista Football Show right here on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media. As the Vikings fell in a tough one to Wimberley, 34 to 22. Basically just got, Wimberley jumped out early and then Lago Vista kind of crawled back into it. But like he'll say on the show, and we talked off the air, Wimberley's just not a team you can start slow against. That's like the one of their biggest things that they do well is they jump on teams early and it forces you to become one-dimensional. But still, I'm very impressed with this Viking defense against a very good Texan offense. I saw Wimberley against Lampasas earlier this year, and at times, man, and Lampasas is a solid team, and at times, man, they made Lampasas look silly. And I thought Lago Vista, from some of the clips I've seen and some of the film I've seen, I thought Lago Vista played very well in this game. You get a better start early, and I think maybe it's a completely different, type of game. But, hey, the great thing is in this region, there's a good chance you're going to see them again. As always, we'll be talking to the head coach of the Vikings, Coach Creighton Phillips. Talk about that game, talk about this game coming up. It's a battle for third or fourth place. It's real simple. Now, he makes a good point. I was saying, hey, that you want to get to third place. He makes a good point. Out of the four spots, the third spot is actually probably the tougher route. Now, last year, of course, Lago Vista navigated it all the way to the region final. But you're going to, out of the third spot, you're definitely going to have to probably beat Navarro and Wimberley. And then on the other side, you've got Sinton this year that feels like they're a little bit better this year. Their record's not much different, but last year they were so up and down, and they feel a little bit more consistent. This region's a little bit better this year, is what I'm trying to say. And so we'll be talking to him about all that. And I do apologize for being hoarse. It's Thursday. I am a Texas Ranger fan, so I was very happy last night. Couldn't sleep, couldn't talk. I didn't even the way the season has rolled out. A lot of the shows that I do are all on Thursday. And as you notice, they usually come out Thursday afternoon. And so I was really worried about 4 this morning if I was even going to be able to talk. That's how hoarse I am. But luckily, I was able to get this done. Anyway, so we'll take a break. When we come back, it's the head coach of the Vikings, Coach Creighton Phillips, right here on the Lago Vista Football Show on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media. Is your demanding work lifestyle in need of fire-resistant clothing that can keep up? Well, L4FR clothing should be your go-to for quality, affordability, safety, and style. L4FR was founded by a third-generation oil field worker who is also a veteran. Thus, this company has a deep appreciation for reliability and longevity, all while we provide first-rate customer service. Our durable apparel will serve you well for many years to come, whether you're working on a pipeline, a lineman climbing utility poles, or in any other environment requiring fire-resistant apparel. L4FR has you covered. Our apparel is tough enough to resist hazardous conditions while still providing high comfort and style. L4FR provides clothing options to ensure your safety and comfort, whether you're on the job or not. To view our complete inventory of flame-resistant garments, please visit our online store at L4FRclothing.com or give us a call at 817-757-4935. Si habla español. Terry Bennett back here on the Lago Vista Football Show. Now joined by the head coach of the Vikings, Coach Creighton Phillips. And, Coach, tough loss last week against Wimberley. But, man, to me, a lot of good signs. This Wimberley team is good, and y'all played with them. What were your thoughts on the game?
The same. I think we had a little bit of a slow start. I think it's kind of a function of having a young team that, kind of a wait-and-see kind of deal. And we made some mistakes early. We had some turnovers in the first half of the game and gave them more opportunities than you can afford to give a good ball team. And our kids settled in, and I thought they had a great second half, outscoring them 16-7 in the second half. I think gave our kids a sense of pride coming out of that game that, of the potential of what we can accomplish as a squad.
Yeah, because, this is a Wimberley team, of course, state finalists, returned so much from last year's squad, and offensively, to hold them to their lowest point total of the year, to me, is impressive.
Yeah, I thought the kids really stepped up and played. They did a good job, as the game wore on, of containing the quarterback. He's so dangerous. He's a thick kid he's hard to bring down. Of course, they got a really good offensive line in front of him, and so he's got a set of receivers that would make anyone envious. And so you have to cover that, which makes you a little thin in the box, and then you also have to tackle him, which makes it quite the dynamic offense. And so I thought our defense did an awesome job, stepping up and containing him where they could. And you're not gonna stop them. I don't think you're gonna completely shut them down at all, but to slow them down, to get some stops, to make them punt, get a fourth down stop, give yourself an opportunity.
You take on Gerald this week. This district is a mirror from last year. If you win this game, you're the third place team. If you lose this game, you're the fourth place team. When you look at the film, what are your thoughts on the Cougars?
I think they're, similar to last year. They're dangerous. They've got some fast kids, some really fast kids. They had a 97-yard touchdown against Wimberley, and just running away from people. So. I think they've got a big offensive line, that gets in your way and gives a quarterback time to get the ball to those fast kids. They're well coached. Coach Murr does a great job up there. And, last year they had something special for us defensively that we weren't really prepared for and had to make some adjustments on the fly. So I would expect nothing less this year than, us having to put our best foot forward to get the win.
And, people always wonder, what's the difference between third and fourth place? Well, in this region, it's a big difference. For you, how important is it to get that third place spot?
I'm not sure that the third place spot isn't the worst spot to be in, just because of how it lines up. We navigated it last year, but it, just looking at favorites and how things line up, it could be a very similar playoff run with, it would be Divine instead of Bandera the first round, but then you'd catch Sinton likely the second round again, and then Navarro likely the third round again, and then Wimberley again. And so the spot you really want to be in is first. And outside of that, you're going to have to play all the other best teams in the region, I feel like, are in the other half of the bracket once if you're not first. So, it's a challenge we're up for. Like I said, we navigated it last year. I think our kids are, they're comfortable with it. I don't think they're intimidated by it at all. And, they're working hard in practice. We're trying to get better, making moves and, just sharpening our sword, so to speak, and executing at a higher level, hopefully from the first quarter and not wait till second half this week.
Well, you bring up a good point talking about last year, and you're right. You could eventually play literally outside of your first playoff team if you get third Divine, but you could end up playing the exact same path. And you even called it last year on the first playoff show. You felt that this district was going to play for a long time and probably beat each other. I still think that can happen, but it does feel like the region this year is a little bit stronger on the other side. Sinton seems to be a little bit more consistent this year than they were last year.
Yeah, I think the Sinton-Ingleside game tomorrow night's going to be telling for them. I think that's going to be one of their best challenges that they've seen, and I think Ingleside gets up for that game too. Ingleside's a talented team. They've won a lot of games this year, so that'll be interesting to see how that pans out. I do think the region as a whole is strong. I think Bandera returns a lot of kids and really well coached down there. Those guys are on a roll right now. Divine always solid. Orange Grove and some of those other cats down there, they're competing, and it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out. But just glad to be a part of it.
Well, and you talk about this is a young team. Last year, the first year in this district, y'all were senior laden, a lot of experience, a lot of playoff games. This is a new crew. How are they handling this last week of prep of regular season and looking forward to the postseason?
I think they're doing a good job. We've got a freshman starter. We've got a ton of sophomores on the field, and so it's familiar in that most of them were move ups from the JV last year, and so they were a part of the playoff scenario. But then again, it's also brand new to them because now they're in charge. They're the guys that are on the field actually doing stuff. So their focus level has been good. I've been proud of them this week, even with the extremely cold weather, from all the heat that we've had all summer to we practiced in the 30s every morning this week. So I thought their focus level was really good, and I think they're hungry to make their mark, and that's kind of the cool thing about having a young team or a new team, a rebuilding year, is this is their opportunity to now say, this is what we accomplished. It's not the guys of the past or, trying to outdo what they did the year before. This is their own path. So I think that they've been preparing well for that. I'm excited to see what they can accomplish this year.
Well, and you bring up the point that even though they weren't, maybe on the field a bunch, they went through this process last year when you pulled them up. And this is why coaches bring up their JV when they make playoffs, so they can get used to just the day-to-day of, traveling and how you affect game day and all that kind of stuff.
Right. This is their opportunity, those guys that move up, to witness all that, to be a part of it. It gives us a focused scout team. Those guys come up, and it's a service thing. You get to move up for the varsity, and you get to experience it. You get to travel, you get the meals, you get the nice stadiums, you get all that goes with it. But they have to put in the work during the week to earn that. And so those kids that are on the field right now, those sophomores for us, they went through that last year. Some of them got in on some kickoff and some cleanup duty and that kind of stuff. But I think that experience certainly pays off in their comfort level of what they're about to see. It's not completely unknown to them, and so they know how to prepare and get their mind right for a Friday night ball game.
What does it mean for the program to be, as you said, a young team, a quote-unquote rebuilding or reloading, but to be a program that's young, but you're still in the playoffs? I mean, this is a program that just, 2018 was 2-8. This will be only y'all's 14th playoff appearance as a school. So what does it mean to be able to do that in a supposedly rebuilding year with a young team?
Well, it makes us proud, I think, as a coaching staff that, we've got a system going that allows kids to be successful their first rattle out the box, right? It takes some learning curve there to build and get to a point where you can execute at a level to be successful against good teams. But to have young kids or inexperienced kids be able to step in and play is good. This is 4 years in a row in the playoffs for us, or 5 years in a row now, playoffs for us. So it's an expectation now, and that's a cool thing about when you talk about program building, where that's the expectation and not the outlier. Like, oh, we made the playoffs. I don't think they're as excited about just the accomplishment of making the playoffs, but they're more geared up towards how far of a run can we make this year. And so that's a program thing for us that we take a lot of pride in, that we've gotten to that level, that we feel that way about this season.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. As always, we want to thank the head coach of the Vikings, Coach Creighton Fields, for joining us here. I do apologize about my voice again. I'm talking a little lighter, kind of in a whisper almost. I'll fix it in post, but I'll know. Anyway, so just like last year, you beat Gerald, you get that third place spot. You lose, you get that fourth place spot. I still think Lago Vista's in a good position either way, though I will say Bandera this year is pretty salty. Divine, they're Divine. The War Horses, you know what you're going to get with them. They're a really good team. They've been going through injuries. And I think at least in the first round, if you're wanting to have to play one or the other, I would rather play Divine. Bandera, they're basically 2 possessions away from being undefeated this year. Coach Joe Fontenot Amity's done a wonderful job. You can hear that show. By the way, we do a Bandera coaches show. You can hear that here on the network. But yeah, so I agree with him that maybe in the long term, playing a different team a little earlier, 3 rounds deep might be better, but you've got to get there. And I think that beating, and I'm not saying that Lago Vista couldn't beat Bandera. They very well could if they play, but I'm just saying it's the path of least resistance. We'll be back next week no matter what. Now, again, if they lose or when they lose, if they don't go all the way to state, we'll do a show each week that they're in the playoffs. And then after they lose, we'll do a recap show at the end of the year. I usually do those the week after state championship, that week before Christmas. Gives coaches a chance to kind of decompress. And also, I've just got so many stuff we're doing with playoff stuff. Speaking of Eric Holt of Lago Vista Broadcast, he's probably going to join me here probably next week at least, maybe the next week to talk some of this region. So I'll be looking for that. I'll post it on our Twitter, at Grant and Terry, on our Facebook, Sideline to Sideline. If you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, you can, of course, email them to me, Terry at s2ssport.com. Enjoy the last regular season, especially if you're a senior. This team's very young, but still. Be safe in your travels to the game, and we'll meet back next week to talk the by-district round right here on the Lago Vista Football Show, brought to you by the Lago Vista Boosters on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media.